Alright, time for another comic book flashback. I am Marvel Cross 316, and we are going to be looking at Amazing Spider-Man issue number 13. This issue came out in June of 1964. So we're now looking at a classic villain, another classic villain from the Spider-Man Rogue Gallery, and that is Mysterio. If you've been keeping up with the news lately, we learned that Mysterio is going to make his first appearance in cinema. He's going to be in the movie, the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, the sequel. So that's coming out next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Mysterio on the big screen. That should be very interesting. Um, I was hoping to see the next villain because I always love seeing the newer villains come out on the big screen. Like I really did enjoy Michael Keaton's Vulture. I really liked that from Homecoming. So I'm glad to see that Mysterio now is going to get some recognition because I don't think a lot of people know about Mysterio. He's very underrated. He's just not that big on the list of Spider-Man villains compared to other villains. So let's get started. We're looking at the very first appearance of Mysterio in this issue. He makes his first appearance here. But also we need to first give credit where credit is due as always. Stan Lee writing this issue. Steve Ditko being the artist and Art Simek doing the lettering page. So we gotta give credit where credit is due before we look into this issue. Now, we start out the issue with a little bit of a shocker. We see Spider-Man, looks like Spider-Man is committing some crimes. How could this be? We love Spider-Man. I mean, he's a hero. We all know this. Why would Peter Parker ever commit crimes like this? So even the police, we have the people down in the streets reading the Daily Bugle newspapers, like, all my children looked up to him, and they're going to be shocked, and I can't believe this is really happening. We have shock from Betty Brant. She can't believe this. Can't believe it with Liz Allen, and even Flash Thompson is kind of doubting himself, even though he's a devoted follower of Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man, and I think he's the only one in this issue that doesn't give in and claims that Spider-Man's a villain. Now, J. Jonah Jameson, on the other hand, that's a whole other story. He's eating it up. I mean, he loves that there's proof now that Spider-Man is a crook because he's been writing all these editorials and all these things, and he wants them to be reprinted in his magazine and the newspaper. Now, Peter Parker, we learn right off the bat that he didn't commit these crimes. He's been framed, and he also suspects that maybe he's actually done this. Maybe he's done it in his sleep. Maybe he's been sleepwalking this whole time, and it's affecting his home life. As you see right here, he drops a plate. He's worried half to death. Aunt May is like, what's going on? And then he can't even sleep at night. He wakes up the next morning, and then he sees this bulletin that Spider-Man struck again during the night. So Spider-Man's like, all right, I'm going to have to visit a psychiatrist to see if this is for real. Could this actually be the case? He visits a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is pleased to see Spider-Man because it will make medical history if he gets to actually work with Spider-Man here. But then Spider-Man realizes if he talks too much, he'll give his secret identity away. So then he leaps out the window, not giving the psychiatrist what he wants. Now he comes back, Peter Parker comes back to the Daily Bugle. He's mad, and this is for the first time here we see that Peter Parker is pretty cold to Betty Brant. He tells her to just shove off, don't worry, don't tell me how to live my life. And you see right here that she's like, you've never spoken to me that way before. So Peter Parker not being nice to his lady. That's not good. And also he comes to J. Jonah Jameson and he asks for a loan because we learned that Aunt May and Peter Parker have fallen back on hard times. They need to pay their mortgage and they're short. And so he's asking for a loan. J. Jonah Jameson says no, but he will give Peter Parker a loan if he tells him his secret of how he takes his photos. Peter Parker says no dice and he leaves the Daily Bugle. And he's like, alright, I'm just going to have to figure this out on my own. The public has turned against Spider-Man here. But the life of Peter Parker is a bit different from Spider-Man, as we see that Liz Allen's showing a lot of favor towards Peter Parker. We learned from last issue that she's gained a crush on Peter Parker, all because of what he did while he was fighting Dr. Octopus. Remember, he was unmasked and it revealed to be Peter Parker. She thinks that was heroic, as well as she knows that he has been dating Betty Brant. So she's gotten a little bit jealous of Betty Brant, and she wants to kind of get into Peter Parker's life, because she thought Peter Parker would never even date a pretty girl like Betty Brant. So we see how Flash Thompson here, he does not like it one bit that Betty Brant, Liz Allen is showing a lot of interest towards Peter Parker. He even goes to show that he puts his foot in his mouth when he says, "Wow, you look beautiful." And she's like, "Well, what did I look before?" And then Peter Parker's like, "Oh, you put your foot in your mouth right there, Flash." Alright, so we see Mysterio makes his first appearance here in the Daily Bugle. He tells J. Jonah Jameson that he needs to put out a editorial or an ad in the paper saying that Spider-Man needs to meet him at the Brooklyn Bridge, and he will tell him all that he needs to know about what has been going on with Spider-Man. So this is pretty cool. We see a little bit of Mysterio's powers. He's the master of illusion. Peter Parker learns about Mysterio and where he needs to meet Mysterio. Spider-Man comes to the Brooklyn Bridge, and this is where they fight for the first time. We see Spider-Man and Mysterio duke it out for the first time here. Mysterio being the master of illusion. He has all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. He's pretty much like a magician in a way. That's what I recall from reading this issue. And whenever Spider-Man comes into this cloud of mist or smoke, his spider sense is dulled. So that is very unique, a very unique ability from Mysterio. So Spider-Man's just swinging away, but he can't connect with Mysterio, and Mysterio unleashes a round of punches on Spider-Man, leaving Spider-Man to leap out of the mist and dive into the sea. And the news helicopter says that Spider-Man has been defeated. They witnessed this on, I guess they were recording it while they were fighting on the Brooklyn Bridge. So Spider-Man has been defeated through this battle with Mysterio. Spider-Man swims back and he contemplates about what has happened. Like, how could this be? But now he knows for certain that it wasn't him who was committing these crimes. It was somebody else. So there's a parade thrown for Mysterio. He's being celebrated in the streets for defeating Spider-Man, the Menace. J. Jonah Jameson putting him on blast, like, he's the man, he's the man, he's the one that defeated Spider-Man. Wow, that rhymed. But we see here that, Peter Parker, he uses his Spider Tracer. Spider Tracer makes another appearance here. Remember in issue number 11, he made the Spider Tracer to track down Dr. Octopus. He's going to do the same to track down Mysterio as he shakes Mysterio's hand. We also see that Betty Brant is getting a little suspicious about Peter Parker. She's seen him with Liz Allen. So we see again a little bit of a drama starting here between Liz Allen, Peter Parker, and Betty Brant. And here we go. Spider-Man tracks him down due to the Spider Tracer with his utility belt, shines that beacon on Mysterio, and Mysterio, again, clobbers Spider-Man. Doesn't give Spider-Man a chance. And since Spider-Man is down, we see the origin story of Mysterio, how he came to be. He does not reveal his true identity. We don't know who this guy is. But we learn that Mysterio, his human guise as Mysterio, we learned that he was a stuntman, a movie stuntman, as well as a special effects man for the TV. So he's worked in movies and in special effects, and this is how he made his costume. He made the Spider-Man costumes. His helmet resembles Spider-Man's eyepieces. His gloves shoot out mist that dissolves Spider-Man's web, as well as their springs to help him leap in the air. So Mysterio, being the master illusionist, he revealed everything, and while Mysterio was revealing all his secrets, Spider-Man was putting it on a recorder, a tape recorder. So now Mysterio's identity has been shown, and he's revealed that he was the one that committed the crimes, not Spider-Man, but Mysterio committed those crimes. Spider-Man fights Mysterio, and Spider-Man, for the first time, knocks Mysterio down. They have this awesome brawl. Steve Ditko, once again, showing why he is a legend. You can just see some of the great artwork here from Steve Ditko and the great storytelling from Stan Lee. Spider-Man tackles Mysterio. Finally, he stops Mysterio by jamming up this, I guess when you punch the eyepiece of his cape, it jammed something, and so Mysterio's senses were off. Spider-Man webs up Mysterio, takes him back to the police headquarters. J. Jonah Jameson comes in and realizes that Mysterio was the man involved with all the robbings and the thefts, and Spider-Man was innocent, so that puts J. Jonah Jameson in a fix, because all this time J. Jonah Jameson has been writing that Spider-Man is a crook. Peter Parker leaves photos behind, so Jameson is saved from his embarrassing thing that happened to him. Spider-Man comes, webs J. Jonah Jameson on the ceiling, and that's how we end the first appearance of Mysterio. Hope y'all like this quick review of the first appearance of Mysterio, a unique villain to say the case. We know for certain that Mysterio will be going to prison for his crimes, and so hope y'all enjoyed this review. Like this video, subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all in the next review.